Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines give out rice to help 1,000 impoverished families in Antipolo. We look at problems regarding excessive stockpiles of rice in Taiwan and unnecessary government spending. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Margaret Lin. Thank you for joining us. In the Philippines, the mayor of Antipolo City sought help from Tzu Chi last year for a rice distribution to help 500 households. After checking on the residents' living conditions, Tzu Chi volunteers have increased the number of aid recipients to 1,000 households. In addition, volunteers gave recipients coin banks, allowing everybody to pay love forward. After coming to Manila to work, this man was surprised to find that his wife suffers from cancer and needs to undergo dialysis. The whole family never gave up as they take care of the woman wholeheartedly. But at the same time, it also worsens their financial situation.
We'll stay at home and take turns caring for her needs. She's unable to walk on her own, so she can't get the things she needs.
This is the epitome of Antipolo City's slum area coupon. Most of the residents came here from other places to do part-time jobs. Besides living in poverty, they also have illnesses, so they need more help. Last year, the mayor sought help from Tzu Chi for a rice distribution. Few thought that volunteers would give more rice after checking on the residents' living conditions.
For 500.
We asked for 500 bags of rice, but surprisingly, the number has doubled.
500 bags of rice are not enough because there are many impoverished families here.
In addition to receiving 20 kilograms of rice, the 1,000 families have also promised volunteers to make a donation a day, enriching their souls and minds.
As long as I am alive and able to help other people, I will continue to stay up to help the needy.
After 30 days of the distribution, the residents donated their few coin banks to reciprocate the love they have received from Tzu Chi. In Taiwan, 53-year-old Zheng Bingjun suffers from polio, and he has to rely on a wheelchair and crutches to move around. This led him to think of ending his life as he was young. It wasn't until his father passed away that he started to have contact with Tzu Chi and change his mindset. He now goes to the Taichung Jinshi Ho every Sunday to volunteer and make name stickers for people in need. After riding a scooter to the Taichung Jinshi Ho, Zheng Bingjun walks inside with his crutches. He had a high fever at the age of 3, causing him to suffer from polio.
At first, I was wondering why God was so unfair to me, so I tried to read many different books to overcome the doubt in my heart.
Reading books is Mr. Zhen's interest, but his imprisoned heart has not yet been relieved. He has been thinking of ending his life since he was young. It wasn't until his father passed away and became a silence mentor that he started to change his mindset.
My father was just an ordinary person, but there were over 1,000 people gathering together to send him off. At that time, I witnessed the dignity of a person's life.
This is the last present that Zhen's father gave him.
It might be the last affinity that my father had left me, allowing me to come into contact with Tzu Chi.
After starting to contact Tzu Chi, Zhen has been serving as a community volunteer. Starting from last year, he volunteers at the Jinshi Books Cafe every Sunday. Making name stickers for free, Zhen originally bought them for his own use, but he later found many people need them.
Many Tzu Chi brothers and sisters have made a vow and dedicate themselves to help people in need. I only do a little to help them.
Putting down worries and staying in the moment, Zhen enjoys the happiness of serving others. In Hualien, a group of experienced Tzu Chi volunteers gave broken assistive devices a new lease on life by repairing them and give them to people in need. Let's take a look.
Even with glasses on, his eyes still shine when he concentrates on fixing the broken assistive devices. Here in the East District of Hualien gathers many experts who can repair the disposed devices and give it a new life. Cleaning the repair wheelchair, the volunteers' efforts can be seen in every little detail.
The brothers who help to repair includes people who know engineering, mechanics, tearing, changing parts, and cleaning are all here. We hope to extend the usage period of these items so that more people can use the repair devices.
6 men moved the electric bed onto the car to send it to Miss Chan's house in downtown Hualien. Her father has mobile problem due to a stroke, but now with the bed, she can relieve a bit of her worries.
My father has a hard time to sit up or walk, so this can help him to get up more conveniently, as well as easier for him to sit and sleep. It'll lessen my burden to take care of him.
Volunteers are giving these disposed assistive devices a second life so that more people in need can benefit from these reusable items.
In Kaohsiung, there is a mother and son pair who live a harsh life. More than 2 years ago, their old house was torn apart after their land was taken back by the landlord. This means that for 2 years, they live in a workman's shack. To help this family, a charity group sends volunteers to build container houses, hoping to create a secure home for this mother-son pair.
As the volunteers are busy decorating the container house, it gradually looks like a home.
This room is for me and the other room is for my mother. In the past, my mother's room was simply partitioned with a wooden board.
Being blind in one eye, Mr. Li lives with his mother. Their old house has been torn apart after the landlord took it back. For 2 years, the mother and son pair lived in an abandoned workman's shack. In the past, Mrs. Lee had to wear a raincoat while sleeping and cover herself with canvas sheet when it got cold.
We hope they can be like everyone else, having a place to sleep and not having to worry about typhoons or rain.
After spending a month leveling the ground, the volunteers mindfully created safe living quarters for Mrs. Lee and her son. They hope the mother-son pair can have a secure home that protects them against the elements.
Flowers bloom in spring, and now you don't have to go to the mountains to see cherry blossoms. Many are chasing this scenery around the island. However, doctors want people to be aware of the pollen near these scenic sites, which can cause allergic reactions.
These cherry blossoms are taking place around Taiwan. The blue skies and white clouds make these cherry blossoms even more impressive.
It's very romantic.
It's very romantic seeing these flowers.
Everyone wants to get closer to these flowers.
Getting close to these flowers make me feel quite happy, as I can really feel this natural sight.
Adults and young children are eager to get close to these flowers and feel the beauty of spring. Many flowers are in full bloom, but this also means more allergens are in the air.
Tiny molecules from these flowers can cause people to have a hay fever allergic reaction.
The symptoms of hay fever are similar to that of an allergy, such as an itchy nose, sneezing, even more itchy eyes, and scratching.
It doesn't have to be directly breathed into our airway or eye. It can simply get stuck to our clothes.
It may be stuck to our clothes or floating in the air.
I'm not allergic, so I don't pay much attention to it.
Yes, I do pay attention, so I wear a facial mask. I only take it off when taking a picture. Otherwise, I wear the mask.
For those who are allergic, drinking tea can cleanse the liver.
You can drink some healthy tea, such as mint, mulberry, or chrysanthemum. All three of these are good and can ease the nerves.
There's also allergic massage with a yin xiang point on both sides of the nose, as well as the yin tang points between the eyebrows.
You can use your fingers to knead the yin tang point to relieve the soreness. You can use the thumb to press for 5 seconds at a time, and then release for 5 seconds. Do a cycle for 10 times.
When acute allergy attacks occur, one can seek medical attention. Acupuncture can immediately clear meridians in the body, so everyone should be warned about allergies when viewing flowers.
Early on, Taiwanese people considered rice to be a staple food. However, over 35 years, rice consumption has dropped by more than one-half. Unfortunately, government's policies continue to set a price floor for local rice, which have led to large stockpiles of rice and some believe unnecessary government spending. Here is our report.
This rice is all provided by the Agriculture and Food Agency for children's lunches.
If they go to class 5 days a week, the meals for 4 of those days will be based on rice.
Of the school lunches for 3,571 elementary, junior, and senior high schools and vocational schools, rice is purchased from the Agriculture and Food Agency for half of market price.
I cherish the meal because every grain of rice is the hard work of farmers.
This is the traditional belief. However, if we tell you that the second planting of rice isn't completely harvested, it can germinate naturally, reducing the planting work carried out by farmers.
After the first rice planting, they don't do any more land preparation or sowing. They use the rice stems from the first planting with their roots, which directly germinate, which is called recycled rice. Some are empty and the yield is relatively low.
In the past, regardless of the first or second stage of rice planting, the government made purchases at a guaranteed price. As a result, the quality of the second stage planting often lagged. If it expired in a public grain warehouse, it would become livestock feed. The government initially purchased for about $1 per kilogram, but it would sell this rice for feed at just 30 cents.
The government's budget to buy rice each year is $683 million, which is a waste of taxpayers' money.
Da'an District, Taichung currently has 500 hectares of regenerated rice. In addition to its poor quality, each hectare consumes 10,000 metric tons of water.
This land here actually is not suitable for the cultivation of rice.
In 1973, when the global food crisis broke out, the government implemented a policy of offering a guaranteed price for rice. This meant that if there was any overproduction, it would be purchased by the public.
Taiwan's agricultural policy has been kidnapped by rice production as we began to be a country with surplus production.
This policy was implemented for 42 years, all the way till 2014, when the government stopped purchasing regenerated rice. This meant that the first rice planting needed to be completely harvested, but this didn't stop overproduction, especially when fewer people like to eat rice, leading to more stockpiles in public grain warehouses. Poor quality and expired rice would become public bait as well as feed. Even if the rice was fresh, there was still too much production. For this reason, the COA has repeatedly called upon the public to eat more rice.
You know, for girls, they often refuse to eat 2 more mouthfuls of rice. This is quite hard. It's actually not appealing.
Every year, Taiwan's per capita rice consumption falls. In 1981, it was 96.54 kilograms, and in 2016, it was 44.48 kilograms, which is just a bowl and a half of rice per person per day. This means that rice consumption is just 1/2 of what it used to be.
Our diet is always changing. Many think we should consider the impact on farmers, but I think we also need to think about why the farmers aren't adapting to our eating habits.
Consumer trends in the new era, along with 3C products, all meet the needs of the public. This means that it is improbable for us to continue asking consumers to help consume excess rice. The cultivation of Taiwan rice should be considered from another perspective, meet the needs of changing tastes, and find the right balance between our concern for agriculture and the economy.
Moving to Malaysia, Tzu Chi chapter recently hosted a large-scale concert to raise funds for charities in the dialysis center. At the occasion, nearly 200 volunteers, including local singers, young students, and elderly people, were together to give performances, inspiring many people's compassion and kindness. Singers are kindly interacting with the audience. Tzu Chi Cadet chapter hosts the large-scale concerts for the first time to raise funds for local charities and medical missions.
In fact, they all know what Tzu Chi is doing. It also happens to be Lunar New Year, so they feel very happy donating money to Tzu Chi for charitable purposes.
Even with little money, one can still do good deeds. I also hope to inspire my children to learn from this event.
This concert is titled The Voice of Great Love. More than 200 volunteers have joined to give performances, touching many people.
We can pass on Dharma teaching through Tzu Chi songs, so we have a sense of mission as we hope to invite more young people to join Tzu Chi.
I feel very moved by Tzu Chi's sign language songs. Why? Although the volunteers are not professionals, they do everything well with only one thing, that is their heart. Nothing can be perfect, but it is indeed the most entertaining.
Since last August, volunteers including patients and medical professionals from the dialysis center had been working together to prepare for the event.
Besides Tzu Chi, I also want to thank the medical professionals who usually take good care of us. Therefore, in addition to donating money, I also volunteer to give performances, to invite people to contribute their share.
I think the sign language song is very difficult because it is in Chinese lyrics, but I will study hard to learn it because I want to spread the most sincere love to other people.
After gathering the power of love through music, the fund that has been raised is much more than it was originally anticipated. Before the concerts came to an end, nearly 2,000 residents prayed piously for all sentient beings in the world. Chenmo Primary School in Petaling Jaya invited Tzu Chi DaAi mothers to come to the school and teach students about Jinsi aphorisms. Through lively drama performances, they hope children can enjoy learning while cultivating their moral growth.
DaAi mothers come to Chenmo Primary School in Petaling Jaya to tell students stories about Jinsi aphorisms.
Children can improve their moral education through Tzu Chi's Jinsi aphorisms teaching, as well as their parents, because if the children behave well and change to be better back home, then the parents will be glad. Moral education is as important as academic performances.
DaAi mothers use recyclable materials to make all kinds of teaching materials and use storytelling to allow students to better understand the idea of recycling. The lively presentation has attracted the students' attention and effectively promotes the humanistic cultural education and environmental protection ideologies.
Today, the Jinsi aphorism storytelling from DaAi mothers is very cheerful and fun, but also teaches our children about humanistic culture and environmental protection in the same time. It's a very great method of teaching.
Chenmo School hopes us DaAi mothers to come to the school to tell stories. So today we host a large event for students from 1st through 3rd grades, hoping that through our stories, these children will enjoy our activities.
DaAi mothers spread seeds of goodness in the school, and they expect the students to grow up with good moral standards.
In Selangor, Seri Indah High School has held events called Managing Plastic Waste to raise people's environmental awareness. At the occasion, students from 14 high schools came up with creative ideas to reuse discarded plastics. In addition, Tzu Chi volunteers from Kuala Lumpur and Selangor were also invited to promote environmental protection.
In Selangor of Malaysia, Seri Indah High School is holding an event called Managing Plastic Waste to promote environmental protection.
This is a refrigerator. The items are half frozen by now.
Students from 14 high schools participate in managing plastic waste, reusing abandoned plastic in creative ways.
The trick is to twist the rubber band tightly. Then the blades will turn according to the tightness of the rubber band.
This event, which is also attended by Tzu Chi volunteers, aims to raise people's environmental awareness.
We hope the next generation will value environmental protection. These young people are the future pillars of our society.
This is the amount we accumulate in a week. We times the amount by 7. Try to imagine how much do we accumulate in a month.
The teachers and students also learn by doing things. The volunteers teach us about ways to turn wrapping paper into handbags.
Okay, best. Right,
It is great. I can't wait to see the end product.
We can turn the discarded items into something like this, where we extend the time we use them. If we discard them, it takes a long time for them to decompose. It's better to turn them into something like this container.
Besides raising everyone's environmental awareness, the event also encourages the teachers and students to practice recycling in daily life.
High technology frequently equals an industry that wastes a lot of resources. Silicon Valley in San Francisco Bay has thousands of high-tech companies' headquarters. Since 2004, Tzu Chi Northern California chapter has collaborated with Supermicro to set up recycling stations in order to source recyclables.
This Tzu Chi recycling station is in Silicon Valley. Recycling volunteers are sorting under the bright sun. Big boxes contain small boxes. They are torn down first and then piled up. Judging from the looks, you would think it's a new product waiting for distribution. Volunteers here are highly efficient and professional when it comes to recycling.
We are here mainly to recycle these boxes people disposed. Seeing so many things being thrown away is a waste.
The most joyful thing about recycling is that we are helping the earth. Also, I see it as an exercise to burn some calories.
These materials that can't be recycled, like sponge mats and styrofoam, cannot be disposed of in trash cans. Here in Silicon Valley, recycling volunteers gives an extremely impressive performance report that improves every season.
2 young volunteers from a church in the United States go to Tzu Chi's Dongda recycling station in Taichung, Taiwan every week to help source recyclables. They hope to bring this experience back to their own country in the future, inspiring more people's environmental awareness. That's all the time we have for today. Goodbye.